Alright, before it gets too late, first off, I want to produce a little bit more of reading content because that's kind of a relaxing part of my life. I'm sorry, I can't stand the chaos. Anyway, so I'm going to do a reading vlog. This will be my first one, actually. So I'm currently reading Ender's Game. I can't show you the cover because I'm afraid I'm going to lose my space. So this has been on my TBR for, I don't know, 6 months maybe or so. I don't know why. It was recommended to me from like Amazon, I think, or something during my fantasy reading phase. So I decided I was going to get it. It was available at the library and then it was available on Scribd. So I'm reading it. It's a science fiction novel, and it's about a 6-year-old named Ender who is put into like this military training academy thing. To be honest, I was a little bit confused about like really what was going on. It seems to be short. It's like 265 pages, and it's a series. I'm really craving a series right now, so. This is future me butting in to talk about, to give you a synopsis of the Ender's Game. Okay, so when I go into reading books, I don't like really read the synopsis or like really do a deep dive into a book before I read it. Like if it kind of sounds interesting off of a 1 or 2 sentence like description, then I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not really afraid of reading like different types of books. I know some people, you know, like to say was what they know, but you know, I'll read anything if it sounds interesting, you know, so that's why I read different genres of books. I may love one genre over another, but whatever. So here is a brief synopsis. I got this from Wikipedia here because I'm not good with giving synopsises of books. Okay, so Ender's Game, set in an unspecified date in the Earth's future, the novel presents an imperiled humankind after 2 conflicts with the insectoid alien species they dub the Buggers. In preparation for the anticipated 3rd invasion, Earth's international military force recruits young children, including the novel's protagonist, Andrew Ender Wiggins, to be trained as elite officers. The children learn military strategy and leadership by playing increasingly difficult war games, including some in zero gravity, where Ender's tactical genius is revealed. Okay, so that actually does give you a lot about the book. So I wanted to go ahead and drop that in there just in case you have no idea what Ender's Game is and whatever, like I didn't know. And that gives you a lot of good details about it. So if that interests you, keep watching my video. I don't know if I will continue with the series, but I said that I was reading it, and then someone commented about how the author was not a good guy. I don't want to slander anybody here on the internet here, but I did a deep dive and he has had some weird comments that don't really align with who I am as a person. So therefore, I don't really know if I can line your pockets. But like I said, I got all of my stuff for free. So I'm going to give it a chance here. You know, anytime that you start like a new book, it's always a little bit confusing in the beginning. And that's kind of where I was in the like first 50 pages. And then I started reading it more. And then I was like, oh, I was only going to read for like 30 minutes. And then 30 minutes almost turned into an hour. So I am really intrigued by it. And I probably will read a little bit more of this before I go to bed. Right now, I'm just trying to chill out. And The child is trying to go to sleep, so I'm just going to take a moment of peace, but I'm actually really enjoying the book so far. So I'll keep you updated on how I'm feeling about the book. So far, so good. 93 pages in, not hating it. So I'll check in with you tomorrow. So I don't think that I'll finish the book tomorrow. I don't know. It depends on how much time I have, but I will definitely finish it by Tuesday. So I started it yesterday. What was yesterday? March 18th. I'll read a little bit more of it today. I don't know. I could finish it tomorrow, but I'll definitely finish it on Tuesday because that's school pickup, and I'll have a little bit more time. And I'm going back to work tomorrow for the first time after 2 weeks, so I should probably focus on those type of things instead of reading a book. But all I want to do right now is read the book. It's a conundrum of life. My battery's gonna go dead, but I woke up this morning and started reading more of Ender's Game. Okay, there's something about this book. It's not like the most. Oh my goodness, I've tried to record this a bunch of times. None of my cameras have batteries or just turned one on. It didn't have a card in it. Anyway, so I'm running late too, so it is one of those days. Okay, so I'm just using my Kindle Fire here so that I can have some color when I'm talking to you about the book. Okay, so this is the book I'm reading. I'm reading Ender's Game. I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning to get my reading done on my Kindle right here. So I'm about 157 pages in here. And there are 256 pages in the book, so I'm past the halfway point. And this isn't the most earth-shattering book, but I don't know, I can't stop reading it. There's a lot of military jargon type things in here. And is this supposed to be I don't know, it's about kids. It's about adults not taking responsibility for kids kind of in a way. There's a lot of military strategy, which I've already said. So there are a lot of complicated things here. In the first 100 pages of the book, I'm not even going to say 100 pages, but the first 50 pages, I didn't even know what the heck was going on. I turned a corner there, and then I got to the point where now I don't want to put the book down. So is that a sign of a good book, good plot? I guess there's supposed to be some character development happening here, which is also disguised as plot, which is helping the story move along. But there are a lot of characters in this book. A lot. And it's kind of hard to keep up with who and what and when and where and why. It jumps from, person to person. But, it's still really good. So I'm enjoying it. I don't know when I'm going to be able to read again because I have to go to work now. So maybe I'll be able to pick it up after work, but we shall see. I actually want to read the book right now, but I have to go to work. This is the problem with being an adult, huh? All right, I'll let you know when I start reading again. All right. I can't hear myself. Sorry, that's the heater going because it's cold outside. A tough day at the office. So I didn't get to read. So now I'm reading. It's 7:45. I'm really into this book. I cannot get past Ender and Valentine and Peter. So I'm getting to the point of the book where we're starting to really get wrapped up into their storyline and them coming together, I assume. I'm not really sure. I really did not expect to like this book as much as what I have been. So, but I'm kind of like, I don't really know if I like it or not. Does that make sense? But I guess I am liking it. Ender, first, I need to see how many books are actually in the series. I'm not really sure if I'm going to continue. I think I already know what I want to read after this. But I am definitely intrigued by what is happening here with Ender and the buggers and the fighting of the battle, and then the one teacher, is that what he is? Very intrigued there. So I'm going to keep reading. If this is required reading in any school, or was, that's kind of, I've had a couple of people tell me that they had to read this book. But there are a lot of like advanced topics here. And like the Warsaw Pact, like if you don't know what that is, then you're kind of not going to understand the parts of this book and things like that. So that to me is telling me that this was not required reading for like high school kids or something like that. And it's kind of funny because some of the same themes are relevant like today, like the Russian thing, which I think that if Russia wasn't one of those, how would I put it? If Russia and the United States were like on friendly terms, then there would be no like spy movies or any like of these type of books, because I feel like that is like the main plot point in a lot of shows, like crime shows or spy shows and movies and all that. So what was I talking about? Similar themes. The book it dates itself, but it really doesn't date itself, so I'm not mad about that either. So I'm just enjoying it. Let me get back to reading. Okay, so it is Tuesday. Today is the day that I'm going to finish the book. I promise. I'm going to finish it today. Yesterday, I don't know what happened, but I had like the worst headache ever. And it just wasn't conducive to reading. Like I so could have finished the book last night. I was just tired. So it's almost time for me to go pick up Tot. So I'm going to have a good 45 minutes to read in the car. I'm going to go ahead and start right now because, you know, I'm awesome. But I'm going to finish the book today. And maybe I will have collected my thoughts to tell you how I feel about the book. I don't hate the book. I actually like the book and I'm excited to see it to the end. I did realize that it is a book in a long line it's the first book in a long line of other books. So I don't know if I like it that much to stick with it, but you never know. Until I get to the last page, I can never ever tell you what's up. Oh my gosh, I left my Kindle at work. Oh, I'm so upset. I left my Kindle at work on my desk and now kabooey. I still have my paperweight, but I just really wanted to finish it on my scribe because like I was kind of annotating the book a little bit, but I left it on my desk. That's great. No, I didn't. I'm just blind. I found it. So it was very chaotic today at work, but yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm gonna finish reading the book. I was making some notes, did a lot of content stuff today. So now we're gonna finish the book. So excited. Not just last week did I go through all the trouble of getting a car mount, and I'm like, oh, well, this one fits just fine. Anyway, so I'm here in the car line. I just got to a very pivotal point in the book, and I'm like, oh my gosh, did they really do that to Ender? Poor Ender. You have to remember that Ender is a little kid, right? So I'm gonna hop back on this, and if I do not finish this book before I have to pick my child up, then everything else that I have to do is going to have to wait until I finish this book. Oh my goodness, I'm so close. I'm 86%, so I should be able to finish it. So I just have to stop talking to the camera because oh my gosh, what they did to Ender. Turning point. Let's go. The book, and now I am looking up the rest of the books. So I guess it was when I had before I got in the car, that's where I had like met the real turning point of the book. So at that point it was like really good. So that was basically the end of the book. I didn't realize that I was at the end. It's a little bit deceiving, but now I'm sitting here looking up the rest of the books. So there's Ender's Game, which I just finished, and then Speaker of the Dead, Xenocide. Okay, so there are 4 books in the Ender series, and then there's a Shadow Saga. Oh, no. There are 5? Okay. Oh, there are a lot of books here. There are a lot of books. Novels, novellas. Okay, so the whole Ender saga is 20 books. I don't know if I can commit to that right now. So I guess this is the order that you're supposed to read them in. And the book was good. So will I continue the series? Yes. Will I continue the series right now? No. I really enjoyed the book. This was a book that I didn't think that I would ever be interested in, and then somehow it just fell in my lap. I just can't, I don't know. It was a short book. It was a very good read. I'm very interested to see where we're going to take the next stories, because they were fighting this war, and so but the war is over. So what's gonna happen now? It's kind of got like a Hunger Games kind of feel to it, but like more military and less like survive for your life, even though it is a survive for your life type of ordeal. Yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers here, because even though that this is an old book, I want people to read the book, because it was well put together. There was a lot of military jargon, so if you don't understand that kind of stuff, I feel like you get used to it though. But the book was really good. I'm sitting here in shock and awe about how good the book was. So initially I'm giving it a 4 stars, because I would definitely, this is not like any other book that I've ever read. It's a science fiction book, I guess, and I don't really read that much of those, but it kept me intrigued, and it kept me wanting to finish the book. So I guess that says a lot. 4 stars means that I would recommend it to somebody else. So that was just a very, very good book. All right. Maybe I'll come back with some more thoughts later, but that's my thought on the book right now. And I finished it in time to pick my child up, even though I'm still sitting here in line. But I still have 10 minutes to go, and I was able to finish the book. Thank you for coming on this reading journey with me. I have no idea how this video is going to turn out. This was the first video that I was going to try like this, and I'm going to sit here and pick my next book. I wrote my notes here, so if you see me looking down, that's what it is. There was a lot going on in this book. This was, I think earlier in the video, I may have called this a fantasy book. It's very sci-fi. And I don't really read a lot of sci-fi books, so I don't know how this one ranks compared to other sci-fi books. I dipped my toe in a different type of book here, and I'm glad that I did, because I actually really enjoyed this book. So there was a lot going on in this book. There were lots of different levels. I think I mentioned that before, and I may be repeating myself, but I just kind of wanted to give like a general wrap up of the book. So there, like I said, lots of different levels. There's the relationship with Ender and his family. There's the relationship with the adults in his life that he feels like, or he thinks are trying to protect him, but he's really just kind of like a tool for them, for their advancement. There's obviously the military stuff in the book and strategy going on, strategy. I say that to be funny. Throughout the book. And there is also the storyline of like feeling lonely and lost, because obviously he loses his family because he has to go train at this military school, and loneliness because he's young. Like Ender is 6 when he goes to this academy. Or this, I guess that's what we'll call it. We'll call it an academy. So he doesn't know how to develop relationships with other people because he's afraid that they're like using him for advancement. So that was a whole other level. And then there was like this whole political aspect thrown into the mix, which is kind of relatable to today. I think I kind of touched on this earlier. It just kind of shows how we are heavily influenced by the media and what other people say, and how that can like shape our thoughts and make us lean in one direction versus another. And, you know, right now we're living in a very politically divided world, and that was also a little part of the story, which was a part, I'm going to be completely honest, like it kind of threw me, like, why is this in here? I don't know if it's relatable to further down the line, or maybe that was just me in my reading. I didn't see it as like a huge part of the story. But, you know, read for yourself, comment down below, tell me what you thought. If you have read this book, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have, because it came out in 1985. And then there is the whole aspect of like, with the military thing, you know, beat the enemy, know the enemy, because they're going to beat you. Like, so we need to get to them before they get to us type thing. And Ender goes through all of these like different types of emotions trying to deal with this on like a military strategic level versus like a whole human level. Like he is definitely fighting against the person that he's bred to be versus the person that he wants to be. Like Ender is a third child, so that means that he's sent off to this place because he is a third, and this is kind of what he's bred for, but he doesn't want to be like a horrible person type thing. So you see him like battle with that throughout the book. And I guess maybe, you know, it is a little discussion on mental health, but you know, you can read the book and tell me what you think in the comments. And just for my highlight of the book was Ender forming the relationships with the other, like with his peers and stuff. I don't know, it just made me happy. And when he got to that point, like, I don't know, like the whole entire time you're reading this book, and maybe it's me as a mom or me as a female or whatever, but I'm like, oh, Ender needs to be nurtured and cared for and all this. So it was like a very happy moment when he starts to develop these relationships. And it's nice to see how the relationships grow as time goes on, because the book does span from like when he's 6 to like 11, maybe 12. So like there's a good time difference here. And so you really get to see how Ender grows. And yeah, so I unexpectedly liked this book, and I would recommend it to other people. So that means that it's automatically a 4-star for me. I can't give it a 5-star because I just don't know if I can commit to reading the rest of the series. It's like 20 books. And so like that is definitely a deep dive. So I might read, like, they call it the Ender Sextet or whatever. So I might read like the first 6 books and call it a day there, because I am interested to see what happens next, especially with how the story ended and where we can go from here. So I'm trying not to spoil. So and in the end, I'm going to give this book a 4.25 stars. I was really like the details, the intricacy of the characters and the different levels just really got me. So, you know, it's not, I wasn't expecting much from this book, and I got a lot. So I would definitely recommend this book for other people to read, especially if you're just trying to get into like science fiction, or you just need something like different to throw into your rotation here, because I really, really enjoyed it. And when I said that it was recommended reading on the Wikipedia, it says that it is recommended reading for like military people. So that's pretty cool. I actually enjoyed the book. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope that you enjoyed my first reading vlog. It was kind of fun to make, and you know, it was different. It's a nice thing to change up my content. And if you're a reader, I want to know what you are reading now. So comment down below, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.